Hey everybody, I'm Brian Goulet here of gouletpens.com, and today I'm going to be giving you a look at 3 new Red LAMY pens that they've added to their regular lineup. The LAMY Studio Royal Red, the LAMY Studio Piano Red, and the LAMY Scala Piano Red. Not pianored, even though that's what it looks like. Now normally with videos like this, I'm focusing on special editions and doing maybe 1 to 2 pens at a time. But since there are 3 red pens coming out all at once and being added to LAMY's regular line, I thought it'd be easiest just to show you all of them together. You know, show you how the reds compare to each other, maybe compare some other pens that are similar in color, and make some nice ink recommendations to pair with these pens. Now the Studio as a pen model is one that, you know, can be somewhat polarizing. People tend to either love them or hate them. It's sleek and it's pretty modern looking, and it's got this distinctive propeller clip, which from an aesthetic standpoint is gonna be the most polarizing aspect of this pen. Now the grip on the Studio is another thing that people either love or hate. It's a tapered grip in a slick metal, which feels kind of cool to the touch, but you know, it can get a bit slippery if you got oily hands like I do. You know, I'm kind of on the fence about it. Now as a whole, I really like this model. It's not my absolute favorite, but I'm definitely more in the like 4-hit camp for this model. Now the Royal Red is a beautiful red color with a matte finish. Given how the rest of the Studio lineup seems to be pretty much 50 shades of gray, this red color just pops, and I think it makes the model look so much more interesting. I love a good Studio with some vibrant color. It's going to be available with a stainless steel nib in extra fine, fine, medium, and broad, and you can swap it out pretty easily with a stub nib if you get one of those separately. Now it comes with a LAMY proprietary cartridge and a Z27 converter that you can use for bottled ink. The MSRP on this pen is $99 as of its release. That could always change. And we have it at Goulet for $79.20. It'll be a regular edition, so it'll be available ongoing, at least for the foreseeable future. Now let's talk about some ink colors that'll be really good for the Royal Red. First choice is LAMY Ruby. Now this is part of their crystal line. It's in a cool looking bottle, and the red actually matches pretty closely. It's gonna be a vibrant color, maybe a little more vibrant than the pen finish will be, but I think it's a pretty good match. Next one I've got is Diamine Spiced Apple. Now what's interesting about this one is it's an ink that's got some shimmer to it, but I actually think the shimmer kind of matches a little bit of the finish of the Studio, because it's got, you know, kind of almost like a matte finish, but it's not really glittery, but I don't know, it's got a different kind of glow to it than the other pens do in this video. So I think that shimmer actually kind of goes with this one. Pelikan Edelstein Garnet. Now this is just a nice solid red color, pretty vibrant. So the pen might be a little bit darker, but I think if you've got, you know, an ink that, if you got a pen that's, you know, writing a little bit wetter, maybe in the medium or broad size, it'll match more closely. And the last one I've got is Diatramentis Document Ink Dark Red. This one is not going to shade super well, but it is a document ink, so it is going to be waterproof. Pretty good, especially for, you know, archivability and things like that. So if you're looking for those properties, this will be a good choice. All right, now let's check out the Studio Piano Red. So it's got all the same features and options that I just mentioned for the Royal Red. They'll apply to the Piano Red as well, but there are going to be 2 main differences between these 2 pens. One is that the finish on this one, it looks a little bit different. It's more of like a lacquered coating. It's shinier. It's, you know, it's just, it's got a different look to it. Not quite as matte as the other one is. The other huge difference on this one that honestly probably matters more is that instead of a stainless steel nib, this one has a 14 karat gold 2-tone nib, which is fantastic. I love these LAMY 14 karat nibs, especially in the medium size. But if you can get an extra fine or a fine, of course you can do that if you'd like. With the gold nib comes a higher price though. So you're looking at an MSRP of $229 for this one, and at Goulet Pens we'll have it for $183.20. It's gonna be a jump up to get that gold nib, no question, but if you got the means, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Now I'll give you some ink recommendations here, but since the Scala is the exact same color, I'll show you that pen first, and then we'll talk about inks with both of these pens. Now I won't lie, the Scala is not all that popular of a pen model, but you know, hey, at least check it out, you'll be aware of it. You know, if you skip past this section of the video, I'm not gonna judge you for it. It's got a snap cap, just like the Studio, and this one in particular has a similar shiny red finish, just like the Studio Piano Red. It's the exact same color, exact same finish. Now what you'll get on this one as well is that 2-tone 14 karat gold nib. This one's gonna be an extra fine, fine, and medium. And you get that Z27 converter included as well. Now the price on this one is a little bit steeper than the Studio, which is why I think most people will end up passing on it. It's an MSRP of $289, or it's gonna be $231.20 at Goulet Pens. All right, now that I've shown you both the Piano Reds for the Studio and the Scala, I'll go ahead and talk about inks. Since the finish on these pens is exactly the same, you can pick these inks interchangeably with these two pens. Lamy Ruby. Now, this is part of their crystal line in the fancy bottle. This is going to be a pretty decent match, and I think it's a great color. It's nice and vibrant red. Diamine Red Dragon. This is a personal favorite of mine for a dark but not too dark red. And so I think it'll be nice pairing for either of these ones. Jacques Herbin Moulin Rouge. This is part of their Paris collection, which is relatively new, so I don't think this ink is widely known, but it's a beautiful red and matches these ones nicely, so I think it's worth a look. And the last one I have is Noodler's Fox. Now this is a little bit bright of a red color, and it is a permanent ink. So if you're looking for those kind of properties, this one might be for you. All right, so now I want to compare the colors of the pens themselves to other Lamy red pens. This will probably be the most helpful, but also the most confusing part of this video because there's some interesting things going on that I think need some explaining. So for the sake, like the ease of things, I'm just gonna show you the studios because the Scala Piano Red, the color is identical to the Studio Piano Red. So just know that anything I'm talking about with that Scala red color is gonna be the same as the Studio one. So if you look at the Studio Piano Red next to the Royal Red, you can tell the Piano Red is a more vibrant color. You can see it's more shiny. The Royal Red looks a little muted, right? Like it's not quite as vibrant. And you can really tell that when you hold them up next to each other. Of course, the nibs are different on these ones, but I'm really just talking about the body color. Now where things get a little bit confusing here is when you look at the Studio Wild Rubin, which looks pretty darn close to the Piano Red. This is a special edition from 2014. And if you never got a Wild Rubin, well, just get a Piano Red because they pretty much look identical. And it's also got a gold nib too. So I would almost consider it like a reboot. I don't know if that was officially what they were going for, but looking at them to my eye, they look pretty darn close. So it's not confusing enough as it is. So since we have two pens with the same color and different names, why not throw in another one that's a different color but has the same name? So this is the special edition from all the way back in 2012 that's called, guess what? Royal Red. So it's more of an orange color, but it's got that more muted finish to it, right? So it's, in that respect, it's similar to the new Royal Red, but it's not exactly the same color. So this is where I really wanted to show you all of these because, goodness, it's confusing. So if you have any Royal Red or the Wild Rubin from a long time ago, probably not that many people do because these were not all that popular. They didn't make a whole ton of these. But anyway, either way, the Wild Rubin is the reboot now with the Piano Red. Looks really identical. I actually really liked this kind of orange tone to the original Royal Red, but the new Royal Red actually kind of fits more into what I would consider a Royal Red color. And then this is not a Studio, but I wanted to throw this one in the mix too. This is the Lamy All-Star in the Ruby Red. So this was a special edition from years ago. It's a vibrant red as well, closer to what you get with the Piano Red colors. But I thought it'd be nice to see all these next to each other. Lamy's done a pretty good job with reds, honestly. I mean, this is a decent range of reds, and I think they make nice reds when they do them. There you go. Now you hopefully were confused, but now you aren't, right? Let me know what you think of these Lamy red pens though. They've been on a roll in 2024 with all kinds of new pens, and while red pens can be kind of hit or miss, I think these are actually some decent colors and I'm kind of excited about them. You can check these out with more technical specs and information and pictures and stuff like that on gouletpens.com, as well as many other fountain pens besides just these ones. Be sure to subscribe, like our YouTube channel, look at TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. We're pretty active all over the place. Thanks so much for watching, and right on.